Welcome to the Bin Juice podcast, where we talk about things that are supposed to go in the bin. Today's topic is going to be about nights out, what we'd throw in the bin about nights out. Joining me is CaptainAlexKactus and TrixieBelle. I don't actually know your socials, Trixie, so we'll cover that at the end. I'm going to throw it to Alex to start this one. On a night out, what would you chuck in the bin? Or do you get rid of?
I wasn't expecting to go first.
Oh, deal with it.
Mine's just mainly the queues at the bars. Like, why is it so long? And then why? Because I'm a student, I feel like I have a different perspective from both of you. Why does everyone have like 3 VKs and then they're just already on the floor?
Okay, yeah, that's
like,
not a
you
thing.
queue for so long, and people get like 2 drinks, and that's that. They don't like stock up because you spend half of your night out at the actual bar and not actually spending time properly out.
For me, with that, is like if I'm at like a student union near me, yeah, I'll get like 2 snake bites. But it depends on what you're doing. It's like you don't want to like have, if you get a beer, like a bottle of beer for instance, and you pop the cap, it's going to be, you have like 4 of them. They're going to go flat by the time you get to the 3rd one. So you only get as much as you need. But then it's the same with like if I get like 4 pints, like a couple of them are going to be flat and have no head. It's going to be grim. And no one wants a warm beer.
No, true. Yeah. But why not just get loads of shots, do shots at the bar, and then have drinks to take with you? Why are you getting 2 VKs, wandering around, finishing them, lobbing the bottles at other people's heads, and then going straight back to the bar? What is the point?
I feel like where I drink is way more civilized to where you drink right now.
Yes, very much so.
Oh, no. It depends on the bar you're choosing as well, because if you're going into somewhere like city-wise, you're going into really popular areas, yeah, you're going to get loads of people. Old man pubs is where it's at. Yeah. Old man pubs, there's barely anyone there. The music's all right. It might have a bit of an odor to it, but generally it's very quiet. And you don't really get much hassle.
True. I mean, I like old man pubs for like stuff like that. Queues are shorter. It depends on what vibe you're going for, you know? Like, I feel like in a club, I can never get drunk enough to be able to be okay in a club. Like, I know, I've been in the club with like such loud... I felt like such an old man. There was so much bass that I was like, I need more beverages to be okay standing here having my heart shaking. But you can't get them. So it's like, which one do you take? But
having to elbow your way to the front of the bar to get any form of service.
But there's one thing worse than the long queues there's a thing with long queues, which is probably the most cry-worthy, as a very polite Englishman that likes to tut at other people that don't know how to queue properly.
You're that kind of person.
Is queue jumpers when it's a long queue, when like there's like a bar and you're sort of moving forward with the bar, and then someone that got there like to your left just like pushes through, and you're just like,
yeah,
it's busy already. Like, I just want a drink. I'm thirsty here. It's not the one.
I can't stand them. That's the only time I start like. If I get queue jumped like more than 3 times on the night out, I start getting like proper mouthy. I start yelling at people. I'm like, I'm not having this. I just want my like 5 Jaeger bombs and like a couple of pints. Let me go.
But would you ever resort to the finger up, the clicking? Because having worked in the bars, you'll know it's like the worst thing. And you try to keep your eye on who came to the bar first, but it's really difficult sometimes.
Hey, no, as a barman, you're never perfect. You're never going to get it right every time. So.
I mean, people that do that are just rude. I would just like throw them in the bin, quite literally. Like, out, just get out. I'm not having it.
I vividly remember once it was like my first like club experience, and I was in this room and I was waiting for the bar, and I think I was pretty skint that night, so I was like, I want my drinks, I want to take my time with them, but I'd finished one and I'd waited 15 minutes at this point in a queue to try and get another one, and a girl started speaking to me that was quite attractive, and I've never before been so pissed off that I've just turned around to a pretty girl and been like, "Fuck off and leave me alone." Like, just want a drink.
Wow.
Like, I was
Good
so
to know your priorities.
in that moment, you just got to, 15 minutes. I just wanted some cider, It's, no, it's
What's
not
the longest time you've ever queued at a bar?
an hour and 15 minutes.
Jeez.
That's a lot.
That was at a festival,
I was about to ask, was that in a tent somewhere?
but it's Slam Dunk, It's a pretty big festival, and they just didn't. It wasn't staffed properly, and I remember specifically, I was planning on getting one drink, but I got 4. I was like,
Gonna make sure you're correctly stocked up.
yeah, I was like, look,
Actually,
we're gonna
that
sit
too,
down,
man.
neck one, and then I'm just gonna carry around. I'm not going in the mosh pits. I'm standing at the back with my drink. No, I think I gave one to my sister. Sorry.
The longest I've had to wait was half an hour, but that was in the worst club, the stickiest floor in
Ugh.
Glasgow. It was just this horrible, grotty nightclub, but it was the one where all the students went to, and because it did £1 a drink, so you'd easily go in and get like 4 or 5 drinks at one time, like you were saying earlier. But because people were doing that constantly, the bar staff were just so overwhelmed, and you're waiting there for like half an hour, but you didn't really care because you were so drunk, possibly high, and just having to deal with all the idiots around you. Didn't really care. But yeah, I vividly remember the sticky floors in that place. And when the smoking ban came in, because old enough to remember when it wasn't there in clubs, it was the smell of nightclubs. As soon as they got rid of the smoking, like as soon as they stopped smoking in the clubs, the club experience was so different.
Oh Lord! I'm sure you could smell everyone's perfume for a change.
Yeah.
Slash the booze and the sticky floors.
Yeah. The overwhelming smell of you've not been drinking since tonight. You've been drinking for a few days now.
Right, well, if we move on to Trixie, what would you chuck in the bin?
Oh, I think what I would chuck in the bin would probably be the cost. So, having grown up in Scotland, drinking is part of our culture.
Oh,
very much so. And I remember, like when I was a student, like I was saying earlier, like £1 a drink nights. We used to go to Strathclyde University. Their uni building was 7 floors, and they would do something called 12-hour Tuesdays. There was a bar on every floor, and it was from 3 p.m. till 3 a.m. £1 a drink.
Oh Lord!
It got messy. It got really, really messy. And after I had spent some time in Glasgow, I moved down to London, and the price difference going out for a pint in Glasgow at the time, this was before Scotland increased their alcohol taxes and things, a pint at very most would be like £2.50. Jumping to London to paying £6-7 a pint back then, because bearing in mind that was maybe about 9-10 years ago,
Yeah,
was ridiculous. Even more so when I moved to California and I was paying like $10 a pint, and it was just it felt ridiculous.
$10 for a pint.
$10 for a pint, but that was San Francisco. That was how it was. And since living in Manchester, I've mostly worked in the Northern Quarter, which is one of the more expensive areas, and it's all craft beers and craft ale places. So instantly you're paying London, well, what it was London prices back then. You cannot get a £1 pint anymore. You cannot get a drink. You can maybe get a shot for £1 in some of the bars in the village, but you used to be able to go out with 20 quid and have enough money for your kebab on the way home or your Mackies on the way home.
20
No,
quid
if you're
is
not.
just one drink now.
Yeah.
I remember discussing this with a mate who's from Newcastle, and there's this whole like scale of price, because I live pretty close to London. That our prices, because the train station's quite a close hub, the places near the train station are generally more expensive, because as you get off the train from London, you go to that pub, they can charge you £6 to £5 for a pint. I remember the other day, because we got spoons in the town, as every town does. It's like £2.65 maybe. I think that's more expensive than it actually is for a pint of dark fruits. My chosen beverage, when we're out. And then the O'Neill's next door is £5, and it's like, how I can get two of these there, same price. But when you work in London as a sound engineer in like touring areas, you generally get about £250 for a day of work. Up north, you get £150 roughly for a day of work. However, you get more pints up north with the 150 than you would with the 250 down here. So like, it's funny that like, depending where you are, it depends how cheap drink is, and how much you can get on a night out for this exact same money.
Have you ever been to a Trebles?
What's a Trebles?
So they serve
It's been
triple
Star Trek,
shots of, for God's sake, they serve triple shots of alcohol and mixer for, I believe it's £3.20 if you're a student.
Wow.
Yeah, that was, I think it was the only time I queued for an hour to get one drink.
Oh wow.
To get a treble, because I was
Now I get
already
what the
so
queues are
gone.
thing,
I
yeah.
was like, I'm just gonna get a triple like vodka, whatever. And it's like, it's top shelf stuff as well. It's not like some shitty Russian standard.
Hey, Russian standard's not too bad. I've got the palate
I mean,
for
it
that.
tastes like nail polish remover.
A little bit, yeah, but
But if you're back in Newcastle, go to Trebles, because it's probably one of the cheapest nights out.
I might have to. For me, it's just, I remember, the thing is, when you get drunk, you get merry, and you generally get quite generous. So, when I have a good paycheck or whatever, I will go out on a night out. And then I'll get my friends a couple of drinks, and then it goes from costing, because I still get staff discount in certain pubs. It doesn't cost me much. I'll happily get drunk off of 30 quid, and still get food on the way home. However, as soon as you start getting a bit merry, and you still got, and you're like, oh, I've got a bit of spare money, then you buy your mate a drink, and then you buy your mate a drink, and then all of a sudden, that 30 turns into 50, and then it's generally still a good night, and no complaints. But it can get expensive quickly if you're a generous person on a night out.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. One of my favorite memories of a night out was always going out in Liverpool, and it was routine. We went to just like a Spoons or something, a cheap. I don't think I could set foot in a Spoons again because of politics, but the like going somewhere cheap like that, having a couple of pints, settling into the night, getting ready, and then going to Sabar, which is a tequila bar in Liverpool. 50 different flavors of tequila, £1 a shot.
Oh wow!
Every flavor you can think of, up to and including baked bean, which at the time, when you've only had a couple of pints, you're like, no, God, that's gross. No, you would never try baked bean. After maybe about 7 or 8 tequilas at £1 of tequila, you start to get a bit, I could try this. I could try baked bean.
You're like, oh, do you want that baked bean shot? I'll buy it, but you have to have it. And then they're like, oh, if you're buying,
it's like a dare. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's no risk financially for them. They're like, you know what? If I don't like it, I don't like it. They didn't have to pay for it. And then you're like, get to see someone try it.
I can speak from experience. It's gross. Even whilst absolutely wankered, it's still gross.
I'm assuming we've all been to like Vodka Revolution.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's stupidly overpriced and not that worth it. But getting the vodka trays sometimes is fun. And I remember my friend, I was like, I'm not really into vodka. I'll just have a few cocktails, whatever. no biggie. And they get the shot tray, and I think there's like 4 of us, so they got 8 or something like that. But someone after having one was like, oh, I'm alright, won't have the other one. That's like a Dr. Pepper flavoured one. But for some reason, that was creamy. Because a lot of their vodka is like, has like a bit of a dairy base in a way. It feels creamy when you drink it.
That's not how that should work.
No, it's not how it should work. But I get it for like the ice cream flavours and all this stuff that they got going on. But for Dr. Pepper, it shouldn't have been white.
That sounds quite gross, I'll be honest.
It wasn't great.
Don't get me wrong. So there are some like cocktails that have milk in them. So like White Russians and things like that. I absolutely love those. But milk-based vodka. I mean, I'm also not a massive fan of vodka. I'll have it in cocktails, but I would never choose to drink it.
See, I quite like Malibu and milk.
Malibu and milk?
Yes, because it's just like coconut milk.
I'm going to have to try that.
It's no different from coconut milk, because if it's just a coconut rum.
Apart from the alcohol content.
Apart from the alcohol content, obviously. But the milk sort of negates sort of a bit of the alcohol taste. You get some really funny look. I've done it in a spoons once when I was bored, and you get some really funny looks. I'll tell you that for nothing.
I can imagine. I mean, I love coffee cocktails. So espresso martinis and things like that, and they go really well with like drinks like Baileys and things like that.
Yeah, weirdly enough, as someone that loves coffee, I have never ever had any coffee cocktails. I've seen like espresso martinis and stuff, and they really appeal to me, but I've never been ballsy enough to just be like, that's what I want today. I always just get Long Island iced tea because it's safe and simple, and I know I'm going to get wankered.
Is that your cocktail of choice then?
As I'm getting older now. It used to be because of...
What is your cocktail of choice?
So, I really like zombies. I love rum, and a well-made zombie is just... and also you can get the pinky out. I love it. It's really me. It's really a bit of me, it is. But I used to go to a student night that you'd get £5 teapots full of Long Island iced tea. You get a full pint. And I think I had like 4 or 5 of them. And I can't really remember much of the night, but from what I was told, there was like my ex-girlfriend, like student house, used to go around like this, and there was a bathroom on this, like that was all that was there. So the step up into the bathroom and step up to like the first floor, and apparently I was asleep on the flat bit with my neck on the step, and in the middle of the night all they heard was, and they were like, what the fuck? Go up, and I've just turned 180 back onto the other side of my neck. It was great. I woke up and I couldn't do that because I was in so much pain.
Christ.
But we'll move on to my bin, which I'm going to change now because of it's a thing that's really come in the last few years and it pisses me off. Originally, I did have, I even have it written down here, and it's being forced to dance because it is annoying and I would like to get rid of it. However, sometimes I do like a boogie, so I'll leave that one and go for the one that I got reminded about. And that's a new craft beer / ale movement that has happened in the last 4 or 5 years. Because it wasn't there when I started going out. When I first started going out, you'd go out, you'd go to Spoons, somewhere cheap, whatever. You generally would have ale on tap. Because it was like more of an old man's pub or whatever that you'd go to. You'd be able to chat with your mates, have a few drinks, merry yourself up, generally have a bit of food ready for the night ahead of you. Then you'd go out to somewhere with music or whatever, have a little dance. That was it. Now, it's like you have to go into like a brew dog or whatever. Rather than just being able to have a drink because they're all weird and kooky and have a little zest of lemon, and this one has a little zest of lemon, also a tiny bit of lime though. So they are different, and that one's like £1 more expensive because of the lime has been cultivated from the mountains of Iguagua and brought down to Newcastle into the brewer, and it just means that rather than you going up and getting a drink and sitting with your mates there's this whole like annoying talk when you go out of, oh, can I try that? Can I get a little bit of that one? Not really my taste. What about that one? That one seems interesting. And it adds like another 15 minutes to 20 minutes between entering a place and actually ordering the drink you want. And then you don't even know once you get the full pint, because they only give you a little taster, that you might have more than like a quarter of a pint and be like, this is grim. The aftertaste has built up enough now that I've decided I do not like my drink. But it just... Some of them are cheap if you go to a good brewer, and I welcome those because, they're good independent small companies. However, generally, it's just a big faff for not much.
I can see where you're coming from. As someone who knows independent brewers, it is something that, yes, it has expanded, and people have been able to brew from home as well. So it's not just like the big corporations. And it's funny you mentioned Brewdog, because they are like, I see them as the ones that they didn't start the craft brew revolution, but they've become more popular because of it. And whilst the craft brew is appearing in other pubs, there have been pubs that have specifically popped up that are craft brew places. One of the ones that's here in Manchester, Port Street Brewery, and they have like the menu changes, because it's a menu now. It's not just like you've got your pipes there. It's a full-blown tasting menu. And they do the thing like you were saying, would you like try this, try a little bit of that? And it is like the tiniest amount. And they do try to sort of, whilst you're trying one, serving someone else and doing a bit of like wizardry to try and get people all served at the right time. But the experiences you can have through craft ale, because there's so many flavors. As someone, I drink a lager like anyone else. I enjoy just a normal pint, brought up on bloody Tennants, which, as anyone knows, it's like carling, it's like piss water. So a craft beer does offer something a little bit nicer. I like a porter, so like a dark beer, and there's this amazing one that I tried in Port Street, which was a dark cherry, and it basically just tasted like a Black Forest Gatto. It was delicious. Don't get me wrong, it's like a Guinness. You can maybe only have so many of them because it's so thick, but had I not been able to try the little sample, I probably wouldn't have been brave enough to go for the full thing. But it was like a meal. It was like having a pudding in a pint glass.
Yeah.
And if it's a stout, it's stout, I'm guessing. It's like Guinness. Yeah. Yeah, if it was Black Gatto. Stout, that would just chew it. Chew you way through it. Alex, have you experienced much craft ale places?
I'm a just straight spirit person. The majority of my drinking consists of Jaeger bombs and just pitchers, just necking many, many pitchers.
And you're not partial to gin, are you? You're more rum.
I'm rum and vodka.
See,
like, I have a massive collection of vodka, and I probably shouldn't, but
something I've seen through like lockdown and just before is alcohol drinking nights out is trends, just like anything else. But there's like a trend recently of gin.
It was mainly pink gin that like started popping up everywhere. Yeah,
and then Copperberg brought out their own gin, and I've seen independent gin brewers people that make gin have started. Small distilleries have popped up a lot more around gin than I've ever seen before, and that also I think it's great because of generally, from what I've seen at least, the smaller brewers are supporting nice charities. They're all free made, and they do a lot of good stuff. I just hate the act of it on a night out. Standard small, I think they're good for dates specifically. I think like craft beer places, they generally serve some nice food as well, and then have the drinks that they make to complement the food. We have one here called Mad Squirrel. They actually couldn't get an alcohol license to serve, so they had to serve food to get the license. However, they took it and ran with it rather than letting that like sort of stop them. They're a licensed place and an off license, so you can buy to go. They serve pizza that they specifically hand make on site and matches the beers that they have on tap. So when a beer switches in or out or whatever, they will change the pizza menu to then match what beer they've got on. And it will say on the menu, oh, if you want this pizza, this lager would be nice. You like this pizza, this ale would be nice. And it's all made by them. Like from start to finish, every thing, well, not everything on the taps. They do have a few from other brewers as well. But it's from start to end, it is their product. And that's an amazing place to take someone. Like I've taken a date there before, and it is an amazing experience to have, which you wouldn't get 10 years ago, you know. I do know more about this, but I'm not going to bore everyone because of there's a local brewery, a different local brewery near me, that does a whole history talk on how breweries have been influenced throughout the years. Ooh. Another time maybe, but not today.
Another day, yeah.
So wrapping this all up, what do you think should go in the bin out of what we discussed, out of what everyone said?
I do agree with the time frame of having to wait. When you want a drink, it's you're going out to a pub for a specific reason. You're going out to have a few. Yeah. So I would agree with you on that one, waiting for how long it takes.
Yeah. I'm torn, personally.
Cost.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of leaning more towards cost because of where I live.
I think I'm the same way, yeah.
Yeah, I've literally spent like 45 quid on one round, and it's not been good.
No, me and my friend always have the joke because we go into London skating, and you're out with your mates for a long day, you're pushing about, and you're in London, and then you go to the pub, and you're paying like £6 for it. He was getting a Copperberg, £6 for a Copperberg, and it's like, so I'm gonna have to go cost just for stuff like that. It's like, you want a cheeky round of your mates? Okay, cool. It's like an hours of work.
Go up north.
Yeah, just move up north, we'll be fine. But anyways, that was Bin Juice. I'm Nova Scrim on everything. CaptainAlexKactus on everything. TrixieBelle is that on everything.
Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, sick. And we'll catch you next time for the same thing. Remember to leave a comment. What do you hate about nights out? Because, there's a lot of little bugbears, to be honest. One would expect that I should never leave the house with the way I talk about it, but like, we like being sociable, but to an extent. So that's all from us, and we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.